Community Chronicles Radio, brought to you weekly by Gannon University's Erie Technology Incubator, in partnership with the Corey Higher Education Council. The Erie Technology Incubator, located at 900 State Street, works in the entrepreneurial ecosystem and provides technical assistance through the entrepreneurial process. This show features members of this ecosystem and the entrepreneurs in the Erie area. Welcome to Community Chronicles Radio. If you would like to give us a call and ask a question, or ask our guests a question, the number is 814-679-1080. I am Dr. Matthew Plotz, and with me today, as always, is our captivating co-host, Steph Screws. How are you, Steph?
Very well. How are you doing today, Matt?
Doing okay. Still fighting this either allergy or cold or whatever it is, and it's just so irritating. Makes, good radio, but it's just so frustrating. So did you hear that about our Bigfoot bash tonight?
Yes, I did. That's a lot of stuff going on about the Bigfoot calling contest. I think that would be interesting to hear. I don't know. Do you have a Bigfoot call
I
in mind?
I do not, but maybe this voice will work for it. So
yeah, it might. Yeah.
Yeah.
You have that raspy, harsh voice for a Bigfoot call.
Corey's First Friday, every first Friday of the month. A lot of events going on. If you get a chance, go down. The rain is supposed to clear out, so hopefully we see people down there and enjoying the Bigfoot bash.
Yeah, absolutely. Hopefully it'll be a little cooler. It's just been awful muggy. Yeah, it's a bit overcast here in Corey today and a little drizzly, but yeah, like you said, that should clear out and be a great night to come out to Corey for the Bigfoot bash.
Well, Steph, I want to thank our sponsor, Gannon University's Erie Technology Incubator, for their continued sponsorship of the program. Our first guest today is a business in ETI at 900 State Street. Dave Cullen, founder and CEO of Evident Financial. Welcome to the show, Dave.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
Yes, welcome, Dave. Could you start off by telling us just a little bit about yourself?
Sure. I am an Erie native, attended Cathedral Prep, went on to John Carroll, and then came back to Erie to make it my permanent home, and attended Gannon University, where I received my MBA. I have fortunate to have two grandchildren here in Erie. My daughter and my son is nearby, so on a personal basis, it's quite good, and very happy to be here in Erie.
Very happy to have you.
Sure.
Oh, go ahead.
Thanks, Steph. A little bit about the career path. I think I was asked to sort of present here. Right out of school, my first job was with Marine Bank, which is now PNC Bank. I came in as an investment officer, and as my boss at the time said, I went away to get a raise. Back then, banks weren't paying all that much. So I went to Bank of Oklahoma in Tulsa. We got a bit homesick and returned to Erie, and was fortunate to return to Marine Bank. And I stayed with the bank until they merged with PNC. So I'm really here to reflect on an entrepreneurial journey, and my first startup was Heritage Trust Company. We're located at 7th and Peach. It was one of the first trust companies really in the nation. I think there was less than 20 of us. I served on the national board. We were pioneering a whole bunch of stuff, and it was really a great way to begin my entrepreneurial career. Sold Heritage Trust Company. After 9 years, we had about $350 million in client assets. So we're really very pleased with that success. We employed 16 people here in Erie. So that was a great run. Sold it to Northwest Bank, and after that sale, I retired for about a month, and and decided, I just have an entrepreneurial spirit and a propensity that way. So a series of startups since then. And I'll just end with this as far as a journey. Currently Evident Financial, it's a financial advisory firm. As was at the top of the conversation here, we're located within the Erie Technology Incubator at 9th and State. We're actually right on Gannon's campus. We've been there since 2018, I believe, is when we were approved to take residency there. We came in within the incubator, and not too long afterwards, we graduated to an anchor business status, which means we can hopefully stay there as long as we want, provided provided we're giving back to ETI clients and Gannon University. So it's been a wonderful place to plant a business. We have 3 of us now full-time. Fortunate that 2 of the colleagues are both Gannon graduates. We'll talk a little bit maybe about their career. But again, we're just so pleased to be within the ETI network.
Now, how have you seen the startup community change over the years?
I would say, I'll speak just from my experience within the incubator. I know when I first came in, this is before Brad Gleason and Kathy Roach came on board, and I'm trying to think how many clients were in the incubator at the time, probably less than 5, and now it's full house, and I know it's at least 12, probably pushing 15, Kathy?
Maybe 21.
Maybe 21. So the building is full. I would just say, in my experience, to answer your question, a lot more activity, many more businesses, and just a lot of excitement around the startups. So I would say maybe a short answer to that would be just many more companies I've seen.
Now, can you talk about how you were recruited to serve on the ETI board?
Steph, I'm gonna stop you there.
Oh, sorry.
Apparently, there's miscommunication about the script, but yeah, we need a new script. He is not on the ETI board, but he does.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's all right. That's all right. There's been a few modifications of the script as we went along. I misunderstood when we first asked Dave to come on about that particular thing.
Okay, we will put an X in that.
But so, Dave does do a lot, almost like if he was a board member, with counseling and mentoring some of our clients that may need a little bit of direction or may need to get talked off the ledge, so to speak, and Dave has been there. So he, really, really gives a lot of his time to mentor, not only, as he mentioned, our clients, sometimes our Beehive clients, but then there's a lot of the students that maybe are thinking of going into a financial area, or maybe just really want eyes from professional on what their resume should look like. And Dave is very, very gracious with his time.
All of that experience and everything. So you had mentioned Evident Financial. I was curious about, having been through businesses and improving them, getting them to a certain point and selling them. Can you talk about the journey of Evident Financial and what's going on now?
Sure. So Evident Financial, after really a few startups outside the financial services industry, came back again, started in 2018 with Evident Financial. It's really a culmination of my career. I wanted to get sort of back to my roots. I feel really comfortable in the financial space, wealth management. I really enjoy working with our clients. We work with individuals and families. We also work with 401k plans. So those are 2 primary lines of business. We do an awful lot of financial planning for individuals as well. But it really was, again, just coming back to my roots, staying within the space. I know it well. One of the things about being in this financial services industry is it's really heavily regulated. And many folks wouldn't get into this business because it's somewhat of a barrier to entry. You really have to know your way around regulations. And we are regulated by the Pennsylvania Department of Banking and Securities. I've been through, during my career, probably 8 examinations, I think, is the count. We've had 2 so far with Evident Financial. It's a process, it's a requirement that I feel very comfortable with. So I would think one of the reasons I really started Evident again is really come back to my roots, feeling very comfortable with regulation and just really enjoying working with investors.
And can I just say, Dave, that, you are a very moral and ethical person. And a great guy, but that's also reflected in all of your clients as well. I think you make them comfortable. I think you make them part of the family.
Yes, that's true, and I think that just comes natural, not only to me, and I'm fortunate in that regard, but my 2 colleagues as well. One of the reasons that we're very successful, and Kathy, what you said a moment ago, giving back to the community, giving back to Gannon, it's just the right thing to do, not only in service to our clients, but just sort of giving back to the community. I think this is one example of agreeing to be here this morning, but it's certainly a team effort. If you don't mind, I'll spend a second and tell you about some of the things we do.
Sure.
And fortunate to give back. So within the incubator itself, ETI, we've participated on, Kathy, on your lunch and learn and so forth. There's a speaker series.
Business Pam Boot Camp you helped out with.
You got it. And there's a speaker series as well, so we participated with that. We're fortunate to be asked occasionally to come into classrooms upon graduation. I think the most recent one we did was physician assistants. Here they are eating ramen noodles for most of their schooling, and now they can go out and have some very successful careers and money for the first time, paying off student loans, taking on apartments and so forth. So teaching and coaching in financial literacy is very rewarding to us. We'll mentor clients within the incubator, formally and informally. Again, being there on campus, part of the community of 21 companies, we see them daily. So it's the informal and the formal interactions, just sharing our journeys. It's quite rewarding.
Now, as a business in Erie, PA, how have you seen the Erie business landscape change over the past few decades?
I feel that there's a much more excitement today than, let's say, even 10 or 15 years ago. It was important to us to start Evident Financial downtown. It's important to us to also create jobs. So we see that excitement around us. We're sitting here at 400 State Street. If you come here during the lunch hour in particular, it's just buzzing. And I would say 10 or 15 years ago, we didn't have that excitement. We didn't have that enthusiasm. And seeing the pop-ups and the entrepreneurs doing their thing, just the excitement looking at the brick and mortar going up. So I think to answer your question, just a whole lot more excitement with the increased activity.
You do see it sitting here at the studio, right across the street from us is the Ascend, with the rock climbing wall, and there's people constantly moving, even at this time of day. It is very different than it was, for sure.
Certainly,
definitely. Now you have launched 6 startups. Now, did you experience similar issues with each one, or were they all very different?
I would say the quick answer to that would be they're very different, but there were some common elements. One was when we think issues, I'll think of challenges and importancy around certain things. And one is just planning. I mean, you just can't just start a business and hope for the best. You have to have, it's got to be very intentional. It has to be around a business plan, a strategic plan, proof of concept, looking at the competitors and all those things that we learned in school and our MBA program. All those sorts of things are extraordinarily important and are common through all the startups. Another is that, and I believe I underestimated this early in my entrepreneurial journey, is you're always selling. You have to attract and retain clients, and everywhere you go, you really have to have your game on, presenting yourself, networking, and so forth. So the old saying is a cliche, but if you're not growing, you're dying. And with Evident Financial, Erie is really, I would say, saturated with financial advisors. So it's important to know the competition, to know where your value system is, how you differentiate. So some of those things are very common to all the startups. One other thing I learned along the way that is common, never thought about this as I began, is what we call vendor management. And in all the startups I've been involved with, and particularly Evident Financial, we look at our vendors, and I would say that we rely, and we also call them vendor partners, we rely on maybe 6 or so, 8 primary vendors. And last year is an example where we looked at every vendor, looked at the service they were providing us, the cost, are they innovating, So that is so important to us to just manage the vendors, stay on top of it. And we're fortunate. Our primary partner is Charles Schwab. So in that regard, it's a household name. And we're very fortunate to have them as one of our vendor partners. I think I mentioned a moment ago, regulation kind of wove itself through some of the startups I've had, particularly in the financial area. So those are some of the common ones. And then just all the commonalities, issues that startups are faced with. And I'm sure that's been very much a part of this podcast from time to time.
Yeah, we try to ease the fears. That's one of the goals of this show. Somebody may have a great idea, and there's always that fear of presenting it to someone else to think, okay, is this a great idea? Maybe they won't like it. Maybe I'm the only person that thinks it's great, or the funding issues, and then maybe stepping away from their full-time job. So there's a lot there.
Yes, it can be scary. If I can mention one thing that I was fortunate early in my journey was to really stumble on a book called E-Myth Revisited, and the author is Michael Gerber. In it, he talks about what I always love to hear is a entrepreneurial seizure. And it was, and if you look at the statistics of failures within small businesses, it's that entrepreneurial seizure where they don't go in intentionally, don't go in with the plan. And I love this example of someone that knows how to bake pies, and their friends and families are encouraging them to get in that business. And they just reach a ceiling where they'll need staff and they'll need others that really duplicate themselves, and that's where the hard part starts. So it's quite interesting being in this on this journey.
So,
hey, Dave, Brad Gleason here. Just great listening to you. The one thing that just keeps itching at me about your 30 years of being in the investment field is so much technology has risen, and everything. And when it comes to awareness around the globe is in your hand at any point in time. How has technology changed how you deal with your business model, your customers? I'm dying to know how that has impacted how you do things.
Sure. Again, we look at our vendor partners to really bring a lot of this technology to us. They have the resource to do it. In many cases, the vendors are single focused on a particular technology. Give you an example. Our CRM program, our customer relationship management platform that we have, we were able to sort of beta site one of the providers early on, maybe three years ago. And comparing that tool to what we were doing decades ago, it went from paper, thick notebooks that you would hand to a client. They'd have to go home, do a whole bunch of homework, and oftentimes it just wasn't completed, and it really wasn't able to execute. So one of the tools that we use, really referring to, Brad, your question about technological advancements, is this program. We can have a client sit in our office, and within 45 minutes we build this out. And what this does is a part of that is just keeping track of our relationships, clients and prospects, but also a companion tool with financial planning. And it's just so much more robust. Again, it's not paper-based. It's online. It can be accessed by the client themselves, and it's just really the most powerful tool we use. There's a bunch of other technology partners that we use for other applications, but I would say those two are the biggest: the CRM program and the financial planning tool.
So when I read your bio, one of the things that stood out is a technical business. Can you talk a little bit about Parent Broadcast and what that one looks like? It's fascinating to me because
Sure.
of the field I used to work in was the police and safety field at another university. But yeah, that's very interesting to me.
Sure, Matt, that was so much fun. This is after I retired for about a month. I was able to partner with a former prep classmate in Akron. He was running a technology company at the time, and he was Really, it was AM radio linked with computers. He was sitting in. It was really a service for displaced fans. So he would be in the Gannon Auditorium, for example, getting the connection between the AM radio hooked up with the computers. And if you're displaced fans sitting somewhere out west, you could listen to the game live. And so we had that technology. We stumbled on the idea of why can't we bring the same technology to schools? So at the time, emergency preparedness really wasn't talked about that much until 9/11. And that's just fortunate timing for us anyway, was be a part of those resources available to schools. So what we did essentially was just automated phone trees. So you can imagine if there's a crisis on the school, or if there's just a snow day or some sort of early release, they activate the phone trees, and you can imagine they just broke down in a hurry. So especially if there was rumors or the word got out to parents that something's happened at school, what's the first thing that we all do as parents? We just drive to school.
There, yeah.
We want to get
to
there.
The school, yeah.
You race to the school, and you can imagine that the school is trying to fight a crisis or an early dismissal, and you have all that. So the parent broadcast automated that, so a superintendent or principal, for example, could pick up the phone, dial an 800 number, access the list, and give a voice message out. That's how we started. And then when emails and text messages sort of came mainstream, we would just blast it out. So parents could have 5 sources of how they want to be contacted. And just a quick example, they may say, hey, we have a snow day today. We don't know when school is going to be dismissed yet because we're lining up the bus. We'll send out another broadcast here in 10 minutes. So that was parent broadcast. Ran that for 3 years. That was an example in cost. So we were one of 3 in the country that did this. One in St. Louis, one in California, and we were the only one. So it was kind of fun. But we found out in a hurry that as competitors get in the game, prices go down, costs go up, and so sold the company to a firm in Dayton, Ohio.
That's great. So I used to work for the police and safety department, like I said, and there was so much chaos in the communication and everything, and with so many people to notify. You have instructors, teachers. It's not just the students and their parents. There's so many people you have to let know. So that is a great piece of technology, and one that I don't remember exactly how it went, but we struggled with that for a while. So.
Sure. And the audience also were coaches, for example. So
Right.
schools could just have as many lists as they want. And what's nice about the parent broadcast, Cathedral Prep was one of my first clients. And then we had the Erie City School District, and we ended up with being in 28 states. And
Wow.
so, yeah, that was a nice ride.
So we're coming up at the end of the half hour. We'll go to the news at the bottom of the hour. What's next for Dave? What are you up to next?
Well, I would say next is not next. Evident Financial is the culmination of my career. We're building succession plan with my colleagues. This is where I'm going to retire. My dream would be to bring in perhaps my grandkids and just ride this out as long as we can. And again, I'm fortunate to have succession planning right behind me. We're already sharing ownership. So I'm staying in Erie, staying with Evident Financial, and just really having a good time, and fortunate, again, to be part of the ETI ecosystem.
Thank you, Dave.
Thank you for coming on.
Yes, thank you.
You're welcome. Glad to be here.
So when we get back after the break, we will have Jennifer Hoffman from Meals on Wheels. So we're looking forward to that conversation. I think is she on the call now?
Yeah,
Hi,
I'm here.
Jen. After the news, we'll come back to you and talk a little bit about all the things that you are up to, and we're excited to do that. You are listening to Community Chronicles Radio on 103.3 FM, 105.9 FM, and 1530 AM, and as always through the Corey Higher Education Council Facebook page or talkerie.com. They have a new Listen Live button, and I hit that button every day at 3 o'clock when I'm at my desk, so look for that there. If you have questions for our guest or any of us, feel free to call 814-679-1080. We will see you on the other side of the break. Welcome back to Community Chronicles Radio, brought to you weekly by Gannon University's Erie Technology Incubator, in partnership with the Corey Higher Education Council. The Erie Technology Incubator, located at 900 State Street, works in the entrepreneurial ecosystem and provides technical assistance through the entrepreneurial process. This show features members of this ecosystem and the entrepreneurs in the Erie area. We have with us today another, let me see here, Jen Hoffman. Okay, there, something came up on my screen and I couldn't see the script. You are the executive director of the Erie Meals on Wheels. Welcome to the show, Jen.
Thank you very much. I'm really happy to be here. And whoever did the booking, I'm going to congratulate you because, like Dave, I'm an Erie native, and I am also a John Carroll University graduate. Go Blue Street, right?
Oh my gosh.
That's just a lucky coincidence.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Yes,
Yeah.
welcome to the show, Jen.
Thanks.
Do you like Jen or Jennifer?
Either one is fine.
Oh, okay, I don't want to miss. Can you start off by just telling us a little bit about yourself?
Sure. Like I said, I'm an Erie native. I did graduate from John Carroll University. After that, I spent time on both coasts. I worked in Washington, D.C. for a while, and I also worked in Southern California, mainly in San Diego, before I settled back here in Erie and bought a home and planted my roots right back at home again. The bulk of my professional life has been really in making connections. Whether it was in advertising and marketing or fundraising or business development, my expertise seems to be in making those connections for people, how to get what you need or meet who you need to meet in order to be successful. It's been a great ride, and I am thrilled to have ended up with a great nonprofit like Meals on Wheels Erie to finish my career. And looking forward to just growing everything. So,
Now, you are the executive director of Meals on Wheels in Erie, and can you share with us your experiences running this important nonprofit?
Sure. I think everybody is kind of familiar when you say Meals on Wheels. It is a national brand. It is a national organization. In Erie, we are an independent 501c3. We are an active chapter of Meals on Wheels America and have been since 1971. So 53 years. We are the original Meals on Wheels organization in Erie County. Our mission is to enable people to age at home with dignity. And we do that by providing a compassionate check-in, nutritious meals, and grocery delivery. We are really the heart and soul of our organization are our volunteers. It's been a great ride. I was on the board for Meals on Wheels Erie for about 6 years before I took the executive director's position. And so I know a lot about the organization and how it ran, but not until I sat in this seat did I realize exactly how important this organization can be to a community. We drive 15 routes a day. We deliver more than 210 meals every single day. We have several different programs. We grocery shop, for many people throughout the county. And again, like I said, volunteers being the heart of this organization. We have more than 120 active volunteers right now. So It's been wonderful.
That's great.
Now, how has Meals on Wheels changed over the years?
There's been quite a bit of change, I think, in locally here with Meals on Wheels. Seniors are the number one priority for Meals on Wheels America, and they really are a priority here in Erie as well. But here in Erie, we've also we've instituted quite a few new programs like our Veterans in Need program, which provides veterans who are elderly, disabled, or otherwise homebound with a meal every single day of the year at no cost to them. We've also partnered with Erie County, the Human Services Development Fund, to start an under 60 and permanently disabled program for those folks that don't have another option to get nutritious food. We also partner with UPMC Community Health Choices and to work with their Medicaid waiver program so that we can provide food for those folks who, for whatever medical reason, are unable to provide for themselves. So that's something that we do that is kind of on top of what the Meals on Wheels America mission is, which is to make sure that no senior is left behind. And that is certainly, that's certainly one of our main focuses as well. I think as far as changes go too, you've got COVID and everything changed after COVID. I think when you're talking, whether you're talking business or whether you're talking personal or social networks, the isolation that really was brought to light during COVID has grown, especially in the senior community. Even though we're all kind of back to our own lives, a spotlight was really shown on the fact that there are so many of our neighbors in our community that don't see anybody during the day. They might not get a nutritious meal, or they might not get any food at all during the day. So that's what we're here to do. Not only are we delivering a meal, it's so much more than a meal, right? We say that what we're delivering is a kindness and some human interaction, to be able to be touched, to be, somebody to smile and ask how you are and to listen to your stories. We spend a few minutes with everyone just to try to alleviate that kind of isolation, because isolation and loneliness, it's a contributing factor to all kinds of health problems, which could make things so much worse for not only the individuals and the families that we interact with, but just the entire community as a whole suffers when the least of us suffer, for sure.
Exactly. It's an amazing program that you do, that, like I said, to get out there, and that you have so many volunteers as well. That's great. I mean, because a lot of times it feels like people have a hard time getting volunteers to do that kind of stuff, but it's a very important thing to be doing. I think that's great. And this show also places emphasis on economic development. Can you tell us about your role in this endeavor with the city of Erie?
Sure. Before I came to Meals on Wheels Erie, I was the business development officer at the city of Erie. I worked for Chris Groner, who is still at the city, and I would recommend any entrepreneur looking for funding, advice, or anything, please reach out to him, because the city does have quite a few different programs, and not just loan programs, grant programs too, that can help upcoming entrepreneurs. So I spent a lot of time, the bulk of my time there, meeting with entrepreneurs and small business owners and talking about where their pain points are and what they need to expand or what they need to keep their doors open, especially because I was there during the whole pandemic time. I also helped to administer a lot of the ARP funds that came through the city. There was more than $76 million that came through the city of Erie. And a big chunk of that was allotted to economic development. So we, between Chris and I and the other directors there, we kind of devised a bunch of programs to assist business owners to help them make it through the pandemic and help them to keep their doors open and to expand once we actually came out. I can tell you that currently the city of Erie is still administering several different grant programs. One is the Flagship Fund. That is a matching grant program for smaller businesses that have less than, I believe, 20 employees. It's a $5,000 matching grant that really, it's purposely vague. It is available to small business owners for whatever they might need to expand. If they're ready to take that next step and they just need a little bit of cash infusion to do that, whether it's for marketing, building a website, adding employees, or whatever, new signage, it doesn't matter, security systems, things like that. You can apply for that grant, and it's open twice a year. You just kind of have to watch their social media and checking in with the Economic Development Department so that you don't miss those deadlines. There's also the Commodore grant, the Commodore Fund. That is for larger and sometimes more manufacturing type businesses, and that's for folks that know that they're going to expand their workforce by 5 or 10 folks in the next couple of years. They can get anywhere from $10,000 to $20,000 to do that. Chris is great at searching out and finding those companies and helping them with that grant. There's also the TAP grant, which is a training assistance program for those folks who are looking for a little help to train new people, whether it's that you need to have a software edition, or you are looking to bring in someone who's going to help you with the language barriers or anything like that. The training assistance program, I believe, offers up to $2,500 per new employee per year to get people trained, and it's like a 6-month program that goes through that. When I was at the city, I was also the capital access manager for Kiva.org, which is a crowdfunding program, a lot like GoFundMe and Kickstarter and things. However, Kiva was a loan program. It was a zero-interest crowdfunded loan that you applied and could qualify for. The average loan was probably about $7,000 or $8,000, and mainly Kiva is there to help folks that are unbanked or who would have an issue getting traditional funding. So if you are, it was geared towards minorities, women, those that have other issues in their life that would make it difficult for them to get traditional funding, whether it's a low credit score, incarceration, or any of that. You could come in with a great business plan, talk to the Kiva administrators, and then be able to crowdfund up to, I believe, $20,000 is the max that they are doing now, but up to $20,000 that you would pay back over the course of time, and it would also pay back those folks that crowdfunded you. So there's a lot of Kiva donors that they thrive on this. They will give as little as $25. Sometimes they'll give a ton more. And they get paid back and they just sink it right back into the system. So Kiva was always kind of an exciting new thing that happened. Honestly, I'm not sure if it's still happening in conjunction with the city, but I know that Kiva.org is still active, and you can certainly do all the research on that and still get loans through Kiva that way.
Absolutely. So, go ahead, Steph.
Oh, no, you can go ahead.
The important part is that there are all these resources. And when I talk to people sometimes who have an idea or something, there's these barriers to entry. Can I afford this? Can I do this? There are so many resources. And working with people like you and your appointment on the ETI board of directors, these resources are everywhere, and it's important to have the conversations with people like you that know where to go look.
Thanks. Yeah, it's like I said, it's all about making connections, and these things shouldn't be as secret as they sometimes seem to be, right? So, at any chance that we get as ETI board members and just members of the community at large to share that kind of information, it's incredibly important to get it out into the universe so that people know they're not alone, right? I talked about isolation before. It's very isolating being an entrepreneur. You can often feel like you are so by yourself and you don't know what to do next, and it's overwhelming. Just know that even, if you call and talk to Brad or Kathy, or Chris Groner at the city, or any of the of some of the other cohorts and things there are places to go, and everybody in that entrepreneurial ecosystem in Erie County, from Corey, everywhere. We're all really eager to make sure that if you want to start a business, we give you everything that you need. Can't do it for you, but we will certainly make those connections. And I think that everybody in this ecosystem is really rooting for entrepreneurs to succeed, for sure.
Yeah, that's so true, Jen. Thank you for sharing that.
Sure.
Yeah, I was just going to say, it's along the same lines. I can't believe how many grants and the funding that's available, that's out there. It's just, being able to get that information out there. Since starting to do the show, I mean, I can't believe, hearing all these different paths that people can take, and the information that you can get for free, and all the funding that's available. There's really no excuse. Like if you have an idea, like I said, you guys can help them out and help somebody get on their way to starting a business. I mean, it's amazing. I didn't realize myself there was so much available out there.
Mm-hmm.
But can you also, going on to our next question, can you tell us about your experience on the ETI board?
It's been, I joined the ETI board almost 2 years ago. And it's always exciting to connect people and to help people succeed. And that really is at the heart what's happening with ETI and with their incubators and with their programming. And, Brad and Kathy are there to really prop up these entrepreneurs and give them all the tools that they need. And the fact that they can all come together and have office space and be able to talk to each other and collaborate and figure out where their next programs are. So many of these entrepreneurs have grown like exponentially. When you look at some of these, the kids, they're like kids, they're our babies, right? That come and they start regardless, start their businesses and they grow into larger spaces there at the ETI offices, or they grow so much that they are able to go off and do their own thing. It's been really rewarding to be a part of that and to be able to contribute to, what is next for these kids or these folks? What's next for, I keep saying kids, and I shouldn't say that. What are next for these entrepreneurs, right? What can we do to help them? How can they expand and basically take over the world? It's been very satisfying to be a part of that, for sure.
Yeah, and this is Brad. First of all to say congratulations on the Meals on Wheels being the leader of that organization. Over the years, half my life was affordable housing, and you made such an impact in so many lives that please keep up the good mission there by all means. But my question to you, because you have such a great marketing, municipal funding and programming background, in the Erie, this is a conversation in the earlier piece too, but as the city and time has gone by, how have you seen the small business sector evolve?
I think that I think it's amazing how many entrepreneurs have exploded on the scene in Erie. When you take a look at different sectors of Erie itself and even the county. But when you take a look at the downtown area, the EDDC is doing a great job with revitalizing that north of North Park Road, that kind of 5th and State area. Yesterday, they had a ribbon cutting for a new entrepreneur who is 22 years old, and she, and she's, what is she, like the 5th or 6th woman-owned business that's going to open on that block, and there are so many new businesses that are popping up down there. And the revitalization that's happening up State Street and heading south on State Street. The Erie Downtown Partnership doing a lot of that reprogramming and looking at different ways to use our public spaces. I think that people who like to say that Erie is doing nothing or Erie is, dying, I think they really need to take a good look at what's happening, especially in the city. But it is not just the city. When you're looking at the county and you start spreading out and you're looking at places that, Mill Creek and Fairview and Quarry and Union City, even, there are businesses that are opening. There are people who are taking the opportunity to grow and to pursue their dreams. I think that, yeah, there's so much happening in Erie, and there's so much information that you can get. And if you don't know where to go, if you don't know where to start, I would recommend head on down to your library and ask your librarians even, because they're pretty well versed in what's available here. It's not just, you don't have to have all the answers. We're here to help guide you do that kind of thing. And Erie's going to be it's a hot spot. It is a hot spot now, and it should be growing like crazy. And I think it will in the future, for sure.
Well, I couldn't have said it better and couldn't agree more. I've got to be honest with you too. It's nice that I think there's a sustainability rate that Kathy and I have some data to support this with. But now we're starting to also experience the second business or the first business reaching back because they have questions or need additional support. That conversation is also something that's, I think, happening more often now. Is let me continue to tap into the network. It's got the rich support that goes to so many neat corners of the community. Programs and support programs are popping up everywhere, but it's more important that people keep talking and reaching out and plugging into those things as frequently as they have questions. And I'm seeing a big increase in that too. But I appreciate your lens on how things have changed. That's really insightful.
Sure, it's vital that, like I said it before, it can be very, very lonely as an entrepreneur, right? So it's vital that they continue to talk to not only other entrepreneurs, but their support system that help them get a leg up. You don't just get some advice and graduate from the program and you're gone. All of these programs are there to help you, to answer your questions down the road. Because as you grow, what happens? There's just more problems. There's just more things that come up. There's just more questions that you get, right? So know that you're not, you will never have to do it by yourself. Plug in with any one of these programs, ETI preferably, but no, any one of these entrepreneurial programs will, and if they can't help you, they'll connect you with somebody who can. That is what's so important because, no business should ever wither and die on the vine just because you couldn't find an answer. There are so many answers out here. Don't be shy. You're obviously not shy if you're an entrepreneur. You've got drive and you know what you want to do. So pick up the phone, walk right into one of the offices, the ETI offices, City Hall, anywhere, and say, hey, I need help with this. Who can I talk to? And somebody, I guarantee you, will be there to give you some sort of direction, for sure.
And even if you do that, we talk about this quite a bit. If you go to one of those offices and they don't have exactly what you need, they usually know which direction to point you. And there are lots of resources, ETI, Small Business Development Center, any number of things that if you're looking for some type of information, they know how to get you there.
Absolutely.
Yeah, for sure. And, with the Beehive Network as well, those are services that we offer for free. But, if anybody out there is looking, where do I start? You can always go on to our website at erietech.org, and up in the top, there's a little button that is community resources, and it's a platform that we've developed, and it has all kinds of resources locally, regionally, nationally that, can help you get started.
It's a great resource, Kathy. Yeah.
Yep. Thanks, Jen.
I'll jump in here. We had that moment of waiting for someone to jump in. I'll jump in. So we are coming to the end of the show, but I want to thank Jen for coming on and talking about all the things that you're up to with Meals on Wheels and your board membership at the ETI. One thing I want to know, how can people sign up to volunteer with Meals on Wheels? Okay, that's probably one of the bigger things. You're always looking for volunteers.
That is absolutely true. I am always looking for kind, considerate people who want to make a difference. And you can either sign up to be a volunteer grocery shopper, or you could sign up to be a volunteer meal driver. So depending on what your availability is, we're happy to talk to you about anything. You can call the office, and that's 814-452-6930. And talk to anyone that answers the phones. They can direct you. Or the easiest way maybe is to go on mealsonwheelserie.org and click the little button that says, how do I volunteer? And we will get all the information to you. And then, we don't kind of send you out on your own. That's kind of the theme of the whole thing today, right? We will train you. We will talk to you about what to expect. And we're there every step of the way while you're out on the road as well. So absolutely, we would love to talk to anyone. And you know what, even, hey, if any businesses are listening, corporate teams, what a great way to get your business to get some exposure for your business and to have your employees, if you give them volunteer hours that you'd like them to utilize during work, get a team together. It only takes about, four people, 8 people max to drive, and everybody, you get a team of 2 that take a route a week, easy, 2 hours a week. They're out of the office, but you can do so much good for our organization and our community.
Well, thank you, Jen. We appreciate you coming on and talking a little bit about what you've been up to.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Steph,
Yes.
we have a few minutes here, a couple minutes. We'll have to keep it short. But can you talk about all of the classes and things we have going on at the Corey High Ed? The new catalog is very close to coming out.
Yes, it is very close. Yes, the classes are posted. You can go on www.coreyhighed.org, and you can register for all of our fall classes right now, right on the website, or give us a call at 814-664-9405. Or did I get that right? Yeah. I say that so much, and I think, did I get that? Yes. And we also have Erie Gives coming up. We want people to remember that on Tuesday, August 13th. And we would appreciate your support that day. Come on by. We're going to dunk our director. That'll be exciting, right, Matt?
Oh, I'm looking forward to it.
What time is that?
Make sure we'll have stuff going on. We have bands starting at 10 a.m. and going till 4 p.m. We have 3 different bands. We'll have Barista's Food Truck. We'll have Free Smith's Hot Dogs. We have, like I said, the computer lab will be open, all sorts of things. We'll have giveaways, I think, and all sorts of other things. So,
and we have the computer open. The lab
computer
open.
lab.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't have to give to the Corey High Ed. It can be whatever is your favorite nonprofit. So
Meals on Wheels.
Yes, absolutely.
Yes, Meals on Wheels. Yes, exactly.
Well, last week I didn't get to the dad joke of the day, and I had to hear about that. There were people that complained. They complain either way. I tell it, and then it goes completely bad. But today we had some technical issues, so I went for the tech dad joke of the day. Why did the computer keep freezing? It had too many windows open.
I thought you were going to say it had a virus.
It could have been that. All right. We will look forward to seeing you next week. Not sure if we have the guests lined up, but we will be here at the same time. Stick around for the Economic Pulse coming up with Laith Wardy and Tina Mengine. I always look forward to that on my drive back down to Corey as I leave. See you next week.